that I only had one group that was really good like that.
Mm.
Mm.
Chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah, chemistry.
Let's start this off. I want to continue that a little bit before we go on to the last topic. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm your host, Adam Mill. This is the Guess I Said podcast. And now to the right and left of me is because Quan Bond here at the skate is to the right, you know.
Because the governor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jammer one.
Yep.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's the piggyback on what you were saying, Jammer One. Yeah, bro. My faults in it. I believe that I could have pushed more, been more respectful to my fellow group members, been more open and understanding, right? Been more
Yeah.
forthcoming, um, more business savvy. I didn't know anything about the business. That's another thing too.
Right.
We didn't have a manager. We didn't have somebody to put glue together and say, look, within 2 years, y'all could be performing. Y'all could be sitting on millions of dollars right now.
Right.
Right? Let's just see where this go at in 2-3 years, but y'all got to be focused.
See, that's what D. Billy was starting to tell me, but that was toward the end anyway, when everything was already getting when it was already snipey at that point. You know what I mean? He was starting to tell me that then, like say the last month or so, because my tune was starting to change then, because I was starting to realize. He was like, nah, the stuff you asking for is wrong. What they hear what you need to do. He was starting to tell me what I needed to do. From my side as a producer, what I needed to do from that standpoint. Because he was saying, this is where you dropping the ball at. This is what he was telling me back then. So realizing that, that's why I was starting to say, wait a minute. So what is it exactly y'all want to do? But see, y'all thought I was still on the same thing from before, because he had already talked to me and told me, no. You looking at this all wrong. You know?
Yeah.
So going through that part of it, like learning, like what you said earlier, not being an expert in this stuff. We ain't really know what we were doing. We knew we can write a verse, and we know that the verse will probably go this way, and you put it to the beat, blah 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 blah. But when it came down to the back and forth, who's gonna do what? Because we didn't even have that section. We didn't have that situated. You know what I mean? So we were just there. You know what I mean?
Just raw talent, Gov. We didn't even know how to properly structure a song.
Yeah. So without structure, without even having, well, we structured a song, but we didn't know how to structure like the business aspect, how who was supposed to do what, who's trying to make these calls, who's trying to make this happen, where's the money gonna come from. We didn't even talk about any of that beforehand. So this one paying, and then the other one like, hey, well, what do you want us to do? You know what I mean? So a lot of that was going on because we didn't, in the first place, set up the organization like anything else would be set up. You know what I mean? Like, here's what we're gonna do. You handle this, I'm gonna do this, and then all right, we're gonna do these things, and then let's get together this time. We ain't set up no schedule. We never had a set schedule. Only time we did a schedule when we started doing the podcast, which was a good thing. And then we did the growth when we started to do that because it was an actual schedule type of a thing. So if we had applied that type of structure to everything else, I think a lot of more things would have actually been accomplished. You know what I mean?
Yep. And just patience too. And I want to bring up what happened at and this was a wake up call too. Like I said, man, I just think that we should have been more unified and more desperate. Like, you know, I'm not putting hip hop, I'm not putting an age on hip hop, but we was up in age and we were seasoned. And again, we was something that the DMV have never heard yet, right? And I think that the the urgency was not there. Remember, Catch had a slot open for us at Howard University. I don't know if you remember that, Gov.
Yeah.
We had a slot open for Howard University, and we was going to perform Revolution there and stuff off the album, right? And an individual said that I could get the tickets or I can get the asses in the seats, but I'm not going to do it because I want to see what y'all do. And I'm saying to myself, I never done nothing like that.
You know, that's kind of messed up how promoters
You
how
know,
promoters try. You're a promoter. You supposed to bring people to the show. I think it's messed up how they be trying to get the artists. Like, of course, artists should have a following, but
Yeah,
still,
yeah,
it shouldn't be solely on the artist to bring people to the show, especially a up and coming artist. Like they be getting over, man, with a lot of those
yeah.
a
no,
lot
but
of
this,
those.
With those
yeah,
ticket type
no, I
things.
feel you. But this was a member of the group, and
Oh,
the reason why that got under my skin because if you look online, this person had performed at Howard University,
mm,
and it's like almost saying that I can lead y'all to the water, but I'm not going to do it. Find your own way.
that's messed
I
up.
thought we supposed to be unified.
Right.
Right.
But see, I think that go back to what I was saying before. We never organized to be unified. You see what I mean? So
Mm,
when it came down to it, so he had a thing going, like he had a wave that kind of that you could see was going on. So he kind of felt like if he was to push all of that into it, would that disturb his own? Because see, a lot of us was on this, I'm doing this, but I'm gonna do that too, though. I'm doing this, but I'm doing that too. Like we didn't fully, it didn't have that magical click the same way like before, like when we was doing that along like prior years before. Like it felt magical at times. Like it just sometimes we'll go there and everything just worked. A verse will come from this one, verse will come from that one. It just boom. This is like a magical song right here. I can't believe this came out that quick. That's what it used to be. That's what it had been before. So we were trying to rekindle that. But in the process of trying to rekindle that, other people had moved on and started doing their own things. So when that starts to happen, naturally, when you don't, when you're looking at the idea of joining the group, it takes a certain amount of belief to go that hard. You know what I mean? Unless you really believe in something, you're not really gonna go that hard for it. So you're
That's
gonna say,
true.
all right, it has a chance. But if I really believe, like, oh, I'll die on that hill. You see what I mean? So that's the person that'll go die on that hill. That's the one you don't want to fight because then they'll fight to the death at that point. You know what I mean? But if it's this person like, yeah, all right, I'll fight, but you know, you ain't swinging. I don't care. You know what I mean? You ain't swinging. I don't care, man. So then that's not the person that you want to bring with you. You see what?
Does youth play a factor in that? Because going back again to the coalition days, um, everybody was in their early 20s, bro.
Yep.
And you know, hip hop at that time was like a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? That was an escape for me. That was an escape from my previous life, being raised in a certain, you know, certain lifestyle, you know, that I was introduced through my family.
Mhm.
So when hip hop came, like that Lupe song, "Hip Hop Saved My Life," that's one of the songs that bring me to tears and pot dear mama. You get what I'm saying? Because I felt that so much. So when this thing called hip hop came, I'm like, oh, you mean tell me I ain't got to go outside and worry about being shot or robbed or killed or whatever, and the doors kicking down my house, you know, my house being raided. I can take this energy somewhere and channel it. You get what I'm saying? So you know,
yeah.
it became like a religion to me back in them days, man. It was like I used to wake up
Escape.
and channel. I used to wake up literally, bro, and have a pen and pad right there. I used to wake up on some possession type stuff. I used to wake up out of the middle of my sleep and write a 16.
Mm,
My brain be thinking of rhymes in my sleep, and something get up, and I'll be writing every day, every day. I mean, listen, looping RZA beats every day, every week, religiously going down Ron House.
Yep.
If I'm not recording, or remember, he used to have us do boot camp. We're freestyle. I was horrible back in them days, but I would freestyle. You get what I'm saying?
hmm
It just became, it was a way of life. So like you said, you get older, new experiences, family, and you become a soloist and certain things, and you know
But
that 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 once again that crow thing, man. I strongly believe if it was done right, we would be somewhere else torn because it was just special. People, like you said, Gemma Wan, when you seen us perform, you just some you said something about these guys. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
know, they raw, they look like they ain't got it together, right? But it's just something about them. You know what I'm saying?
concept.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just think that we missed the bus on that one, bro. We didn't. We birthed the perfect baby and we just raised it to be corrupt. It went out in the street and died.
Hey man, we all missed the bus in one way or another.
We all do that.
Like I had a great group with no issues, and we missed the bus. We had an incredible buzz. We missed the bus, and I think we missed the bus because of me. Honestly, it was mainly because of me, because I left. We were in Atlanta at the time, and I had to leave. I had an obligation, which was my child, which was here in Maryland. So I left Atlanta thinking that they can keep the ball rolling, but without me being there, it just fell apart.
Part of the group.
Yeah, the group was great, and we was killing for like 3 years, and then when I moved back to Maryland, they just fell apart after that.
In Atlanta too, bro. Oh my goodness,
we was killing. We was killing
in Atlanta.
Yeah,
you understand? You
right, but see, there's so many groups in Atlanta. It's probably like you. How did you feel there? Like, did you feel like you was one of many?
That's a good question, because Atlanta was so congested, but at the same time, if you were good, you can cut through that congestion. But then another issue with Atlanta is when you're an implant, you don't get the same love as the local artists did, because Atlanta had a sound, and when we get to this is actually, let's just go into the other topic, because I want to use this to segue into the next topic, right?
Okay, cool. Real quick about Atlanta. Real quick, Jim, I want to cut you.
At Atlanta, to answer your question, Atlanta has a sound. The trap sound around that time was starting to take off.
Yeah.
So if you wasn't from Atlanta, you didn't really get that same kind of love. Like people like what's that group? The group Nuck If You Buck Boy. Nuck If You Buck Boy.
You talking about I forgot. They from Atlanta?
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah, and they started blowing up around the time when we were there. Okay. But we were implants. We weren't from Atlanta, so we didn't have that Atlanta sound.
Right.
But what we did have was an incredible live show and a dope following. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Atlanta support.
So yeah, so when it comes to like trying to keep a group together is rough. It's rough. And I thought they would be strong enough to continue on. And I said I'm when y'all need me to come down, I come down. Just keeping the lines open. So I left, but I wasn't gone. We just couldn't move the way we were moving without me there.
Yo, you was in the Mecca.
Parts and stuff. Yeah, I was like, Mecca, I would say things like, yo, just perform my parts. You know what I'm saying? But they wasn't doing stuff like that.
Yeah, oh man, we all missed that $1 million ticket on those notes. It's not over. It's still not over. Real quick, before we go into the topic of the show, the most money I ever made off of hip hop, guess the number.
I don't want to guess.
$20. That's where I got that $20 from.
Where?
When I was in Atlanta.
Yep.
Dennis Prince, $20.
Wait a minute. You said that's the most money you ever made?
Off of hip hop.
Come on, man.
Issue not, bro. $20.
We come from the CD. We come from the CD age. You wasn't selling CDs?
$20. I told you, you're really dealing with an introvert. Tell him, Gov. You didn't want to introvert. But listen.
See, that's what hurt us. We wouldn't do that. That's what we need.
Yeah. $20, man. And I'm gonna tell you how that happened. I just had the balls one day at the job because we had just finished Art of Dying, my mixtape, right? That came out, old 10 or something like that? No, old 13 or something like that. And this one things was like on YouTube. So I let the dude from Atlanta, I was working at the oil shop and, the guy bringing the uniforms, whatever. So I said, yo, you listen to hip hop? He said, yeah. I said, I got this CD called Art of Dying, this mixtape. And he heard it. He came back 20 minutes later and gave me a $20 bill. I said, what this for? He said, I'm trying to mark how they talk. He said, man, oh man, keep it going, man. That right there, man. Oh man. You from here? I said, no. He said, man, they're gonna show you love, man.
They will. They definitely will.
And I did not capitalize on that whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was there, when I first got there, I didn't really do anything for the first year. But I did distribute some CDs. And it was people walking up to me telling me that they liked the CD. And I'm like, how do you even know who I am? Because my face ain't on the CD. But it was crazy because people was coming up to me like, yo, I love the album. Like, I was like, wow.
The support,
they locked in. That city's like that. Their city's locked in like that when it comes.
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah, and we can pretty much go into the next topic.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, go on this segue. This is
locked in. This is our city, not so much.
Yeah, and this is the topic of the day. Why does Philly and New York, Jersey get shine over Baltimore? And crazy it may sound, even DC got that shine. Shout out to Wale. Shout out to what's the guy, the R&B dude? I forgot his name. But let's stick with hip hop. Yeah, let's stick with hip hop because Drew Hill did that thing. I'm not gonna disrespect Drew Hill. Drew Hill did that thing.
You talking about Raheem DeVaughn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Drew Hill did that thing, so we're not gonna disrespect all genres of music. That was the golden ticket for a lot of MCs. And that's another thing. I don't know the details behind it, but why didn't they pull artists up with them to feature on the album?
I don't think they could because artists don't really have the power to really put other people on like that. We used to think they could, but apparently they couldn't. It was a rarity for an artist to be able to put another artist on like that. They just didn't have the creative control back then.
Yeah,
that's true. That's definitely true. So, fellas, what y'all think? What's the dealio with that? Why is New York? Of course, that's the Mecca. Why is Philly, which is probably an hour and a half away from New York or 2 hours away from New York? Why they get to shine and Baltimore's like that? The city, like, all right, yeah, I get it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think that Baltimore is a hip hop city. For one, Baltimore is more like a party or a dance. Like when it comes to music, it's more like a dance type feel, or pertaining to the people, they just pretty much gravitate to what they hear happening on the radio. And Baltimore doesn't really support its independent artists. It tries in some ways, but even when you go to when you look at a show like Strictly Hip Hop, Morgan State University, they play New York stuff. Why are we still playing a bunch of New York music when you got all these incredible artists in the city that you broadcasting from? That's what I don't like. And it's stuff like that be holding us back. We got an outlet, a hip hop outlet, but they give us love, but not enough. Like, you know what I mean? They'll slip a Baltimore artist in there every once in a while, but it's mostly just New York stuff or LA stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's a problem. We don't have an industry here.
We don't. I only think we have record labels down here back in the day. Like in the 90s, you would have just for instance, hypothetical, you have like Def Jam South or something like that, or you have places in Houston for crying out loud. You know what I'm saying? There was no record labels, major record labels down here. And then when people will come down here like a Puff or whatever, they will pull one star away, like a King Lowe, shout out to Lowe's, and then that person like totally forget his damn city. There's people right now that think Los is from LA.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you have DC overshadowing us because they say, okay, all right, we're gonna, as far as the hip hop scene, don't y'all have Wale? Stop crying. He's not from Baltimore.
Yeah, but DC, right? This is another thing. DC do it. Their independent channel is WPFW, right? They play hip hop at least 4 nights a week.
Okay.
And on their shows, they feature their artists. They play international artists too, but they feature their artists on their shows. Any city that got a good hip hop scene, they feature their artists on their radio shows. Baltimore don't do that.
See,
Now we gotta shout out Mike Nice because he will play Baltimore artists. I had the utmost respect for him, but most of the DJs in Baltimore do not think like that. They just want to play what's popping. And it holds us back. It holds us back. A lot of people say the artists don't support each other, which is true in a lot of ways, but that's not our main problem. Because not like we can support each other, but we also have to compete against each other in a friendly way, a friendly competition. That's what artists do. Oh, he dropped a hot song. Let me see if I could drop an even hotter song. You know what I mean? That's what all artists do all over the world. That's just our nature. That's what we do. So to expect other artists to support is kind of like, this is one of those things. What you need is your outlets to support you. You need people, regular people to support their artists. It's not our job to support each other. It's really not. When we support each other, it's like a big up or a high five.
Right.
That's what artists do for each other. I'm going to stay at the showcase and I'm going to watch your show. I'm not going to walk out while you perform it. Like our high five. That's what we do for each other to show each other appreciation. We purchase each other's albums, stuff like that. We do that for each other because we understand. But what we need is the people, the populace to support us. We need our outlets to support us, media outlets, stuff like that. We got Baltimore Magazine, but does it really feature Baltimore artists? I see it features some of them. It'll feature like the Kelly Bell band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Kelly Bell ain't the only artist in Baltimore. You got thousands. You know what I'm saying? Like they do stuff like that. They're very selective of who they put on. And then you got the venues like Soundstage. You got the venues. They repeatedly put on the same artists. It's a wheel of the same 10 artists. Every time somebody come to town, you can can already predict who's going to be doing the opening slots. You already know.
Can I ask a two-part question to you guys? One, does Payola has a big part to play in that? Like Money Talks and BS Walk the Marathon, like if you had the budget and the money to do so. And why is it that do this city has its own sound? Because I think you brought up that topic too, Jamawan. Like, why do Baltimore artists have that Philly or New York influence? Why doesn't the city has its own sound? You get what I'm saying?
Baltimore do have its own sound, but it's dance music.
Yeah, but as far as hip hop,
that's kind of hard to say. I don't think so.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't think so. And as far as like the younger artists coming up, I don't know because I'm not plugged into them. That was something else I wanted to touch on. Like I don't really know how the younger artists are moving using the internet and all of that kind of stuff. So you could use the internet to put your city on. You don't even need to go to old routes because a lot of those routes that I was naming, in a lot of ways they played out, but they're still relevant. They're still very much relevant, and they can help people in certain demographics. Like our demographic, we can benefit off of radio shows and articles and magazines. We benefit off stuff like that because we older artists.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I had to say.
Can we govern ourselves? Like, isn't it time that now we living in the internet age where, like you said, we don't need those old school tactics where it shouldn't be like now and never, like everybody join together like some big old Avengers type stuff. Like, yo, for the sake of the cause, for the sake of generational wealth, for the sake of our children, for the sake of the city, whatever you want to put on that that pledge. Let's all get together and put our minds together. It's bigger than us. Let's for once and for all let the city, put the city on the map. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to the younger generation, the now crowd. I don't know too much about them, but the little bit I did hear from being in the studios, like, it'd be when I was in the studio, it'd be people coming to me, the engineer, like, yo, this is the guy I was telling you about. And I feel like a ambassador, like a vet, like a Nas or somebody. And they looking at me like, yo, listening to my stuff, like, yo, what you feel about this? How you feel? You know what I'm saying? And I let them know respectfully, talent wise, like, yeah, it's good, but I'm like, it sounds like something from Chicago.
Right.
And I don't really want to tell them that to kill their spirit, and I don't want to get jumped in the studio, but I don't know how things.
Yeah,
but
what you were saying about like coming together like that, if you come together like that, you have to have a wave, something that draws people in, is because that's what most cities do. They just have a wave. Like, back in the 70s, the way hip hop started, you had some people in the underground who was listening to the sweet part of all the records and partying to them. It was a wave, it was a vibe, and it just spun out of control and just became hip hop. Okay. And then it was little miniature waves in Atlanta, waves on the West Coast, a wave in Philadelphia and DC. Like, they have a certain kind of unity and a certain sound that represents their city, which draws the people in. So it's
we haven't found it yet. I think they did do one with Tim Trees. He's from here.
Yeah, he kind of was. He was trying to do it because because I hear one thing. I've heard the discussion be about, like, Baltimore is like, it's local music. It's local music is club. You know what I mean? So a lot of the DJs will make club music here. That was like the local music, and then you go down to DC, and the local music there is go-go. So that would be the sound of the city, and that'd be the sound of DC, and would be go-go, and Baltimore would be club. Now, when it came to the hip hop side of things, they didn't incorporate. Like, I say the same thing when it came to a lot of the DC producers too. They didn't incorporate that swing somehow to make that their official sound. They didn't know how to make the DC sound be the DC sound. Atlanta was able to make their sound Atlanta. Memphis able to make their sound Memphis. Same thing with New York and LA. Everybody was able to make their city sound be the sound. But when it came to Baltimore and DC, not able to necessarily do that. And another reason why is because a lot of our producers are in Atlanta, and they're in LA, and they are in New York as well. So a lot of our producers are supplying a lot of the sound of the hip hop. We just not known we're not known as a collective in the city. You know what I mean?
You said something real something you said that was real profound, Gov. Producers. I think the producer is the heart and drive of the wave. Like you just said. Even if you didn't incorporate it with club and go-go, because going back to Tim Trees, me personally, the song was catchy. I didn't like it because for me being a lyricist, like, how can I spit on a track like that?
Yeah, right.
You get what I'm saying? I can't have a whole project sounding like that. No disrespect to Tim Trees, man. Shout out to you, bro. You made a buzz, but I can't get down with that type of production.
Right. But here's the
you get what I'm saying?
Here's the crazy thing now. Other cities are now remixing like them old club classics.
Yeah.
Turning them into their own hits now. Like, it's the sound of their cities now.
If we would have jumped on it as hip hop artists, we would have incorporated club music into our stuff back in the 90s. We would definitely be up there with those cities that's known for hip hop. We would definitely be up there. We would have created a wave. We didn't do that though. Yeah. I think we missed our opportunity.
Yeah, but would they took us serious as a lyricist though?
If eventually a lyricist would have came out that would have been able to cut through the clutter of it and not just be a club song, you know what I mean? They would have been able to say something or put something together where it's like, oh, it's got that club feel to it, but at the same time, that's just straight raw bars. And I think
the crazy thing. the crazy thing is, I started rapping over club beats, but it was so weird. Like when like you were saying earlier, when we would do like pause tapes and get beats from off the radio, and we was looking for production. A lot of the beats I was getting off the radio back in like 1990 were club beats, and that's all we had to rap to. So me and my little group at the time, you know, in high school, we was rapping over club beats. But we didn't turn it into a wave. We moved once we started getting like hip hop beats from New York and stuff. That's what we did. We didn't stay on the club beats, which was a mistake. Thinking back on it was a
Right.
mistake.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it don't seem like the thing to do at the time. It's like, nah.
Right at the time.
Right.
At the time, like because hip house was a thing at the time, and it was phasing out, and it was starting to go into a more hardcore area, like a hardcore direction. So you had Tribe, Brand Nubian, NWA, Naughty by Nature. This is like killing, and it's like that's the way we want to do that
Right.
instead of staying where we began. You know what I mean? That's why I have all these different cadences, because I started rapping over club music.
Yeah.
When I first started rapping as a young guy, at 15 years old, I was rapping over club music.
And see, I was rapping over Wu-Tang beats. I started from a New York influence. All my heroes and rap legends are from New York. You said one important thing too, Jammer One, about the house music, which originated from my understanding, originated from Chicago, right?
Chicago, yeah.
But what if
Yeah.
we had the right producer to chop that up? You feel me?
Right.
Chop, like how they did Chop and Screw in Houston. That's not from my understanding, that's not the sound of the Ghetto Boys. You get what I'm saying? But
man, and that's you 100% correct, because it often starts with one guy.
One guy.
One guy is usually the one that changes everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's usually one guy that starts the wave
or popularizes it to make it.
Yeah.
He might not be the innovator, but they call it Screw based on DJ Screw.
Exactly.
Right.
How many minutes we got left, Gov?
6. 5.
Okay.
5. We down to 5.
Okay. Yeah. So real quick, man, that's, I think that now is to the point where the identities of the cities is no longer needed. It's just
no, not at all.
You just got to have good music,
Mm-hmm.
a core following, and that's it.
That'll be good.
Pretty much.
That's it.
Pretty much. That's it.
It has its pros and cons.
Yeah, because I kind of
we pretty much missed that wave. We missed that wave, man. If we would have jumped on it back in the 90s, we would have definitely been one of those cities. But hey.
Might not be missed. Who knows? Yeah, I know, because it's everywhere now. A lot of people
Yeah.
do that now. That's like the thing now.
I think now is
Yeah.
more. I think now is more like what producer's gonna come out with that sound that no one hears, no one knows about.
Right.
What samples are you gonna use? You get what I'm saying? It's all about the production now. Like what type of like 40 came out with that Drake vibe. You know what I'm saying? Drake's from Canada.
Yeah.
When he came out with that type of that melody that is not emo, but you get what I'm saying, that vibe that Drake be on, that 40 be producing. No one came out with that. So that made him stood out.
That's like easy listening type stuff.
Yeah, so
and he came
atmosphere music, easy listening. Yeah.
It was crazy. He came out with that at a time when you got a rapper trying to sing too. They're like, oh nah, you soft, you can't do that. That's what the opinion was at that time when he came out with that. And it's funny because he's still battling that.
Yeah.
In a way, he's still battling that same opinion, but now it's totally different because most of the folks out there now, they really singing more than they do rap. So
he started a wave. You know what I'm saying? So I think the wave now is just basically dealing with production. It ain't even the sound of your city. You come out with something crazy, some weird production, like, yo, who did that? Who produced that? You get what I'm saying? And now the whole rap industry is on it.
Yeah. Yeah, we in 2020, 2025 now. So with this whole internet and everything, cities can't be as closed off like they used to be.
Exactly. Or the world.
Yeah.
You know, you can get something from Russia and manipulate it, and next thing you know, you the man now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Real talk. Real talk.
Yeah.
Well, brothers, man, enjoy your weekend. This was therapeutic. You know what I'm saying? And the blessing
Indeed.
of
Good
us.
shows, man. Good
Great,
shows.
great, great, man. And this, the more I notice that I'm starting to get more views. You get what I'm saying? Hopefully more subscriptions, and then we got to sit back at the drawing board and the table and build, because
Right.
I do this for myself and I do this for y'all and y'all family, man. I want to see everybody eat. That's real talk. I want to see everybody eat. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
But all in all, this is great therapy. This is great conversation. And the more we put out there, the more people's gonna know us, and the more everything's gonna grow. And always watch the people ahead of you and learn from their mistakes and their jackass moves
Yeah,
and
man.
go the other route.
Don't be afraid to be wrong. Be
Yeah,
wrong, but be told, but allow yourself to be told you're wrong. You know what I mean?
exactly. Exactly. Humble from beginning to end, bro. Learning from the beginning to end. And I want to talk about the Matt Hoffa situation too next week, because they said that his platform is down.
Mm.
And Adam 22 too. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
I haven't been seeing any of his posts on YouTube. It's crazy how they do that. Like they just be pushing people down for some reason.
Yeah, yeah. You raise up to a degree, then they, you know what I'm saying? So we
Mhm.
want to talk about the rise and fall of certain podcasts, man. Hopefully we don't have to suffer from that. Or we do know if the plane crashing, we have enough money put away or enough plans to decide to say, all right, let's invent something else new, or it been good. You feel me?
Yeah.
Um, where can we find you, Jamawan?
Jamma One JAMMAWUN at Instagram, and check my YouTube channel under the same name.
Boom. And where can they find you, Governor?
At Governor Mansion, GUVNAMANSION.
And
Instagram.
you find Guess How Said on all platforms, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. All right, man. I'll catch you guys next week, God's willing.
See?
I'll be
It was a
safe.
pleasure. Peace.
Right.
Share.